and claim victory in knowing that a new age of prosperity and dignity is upon us.
Greetings, my brother. Can you please introduce yourself to the beautiful people of the diaspora that are watching?
Well, indeed, for those of you who don't know me already, indeed I have been coronated as Chief Samako I, or Rex Samako. I am the chairman for the Economic Community of States, Nations, Territories, and Realms of the African Diaspora 6th Region, acronym of which is, of course, ECO6, and I am also the newly appointed President of the United Kingdoms of Africa.
Thank you very much, Chief. Can you please inform us about ECO6 and its role for the people of the diaspora?
Indeed. So as you know, the continent itself is divided up into 5 regional economic communities extending across North, South, East, West, and Central Africa. And of course, insofar as the diaspora is now being re-enjoined with the African family, the diaspora constitutes what we call the 6th region. And so the mandate and function of ECO6 is to ensure the reintegration of the global African diaspora into the continent from both an economic perspective as well as a socio-cultural perspective.
Wonderful, my brother. And we would like to know more about the Lumi.
Well, of course, you couldn't have a regional economic community without having a dedicated currency to drive the economic mandates of the region. So the Lumi, its full name of course being the African Kingdoms Lumi, or commonly known as AKL, is the legal tender and currency for the 6th region. And it is also the currency that has been embraced by the kingdoms itself. What that means is that Lumi will circulate both on the continent as an official currency of the kingdoms, as well as throughout the diaspora as the official currency of the 6th region. Well, as it pertains to Lumi, you know, while people are very familiar with currencies, we always like to remind our family that Lumi brings us back to money and not simply currency. Insofar as Lumi itself is underwritten by 100 kilowatt hours of solar energy and pegged against 4 grains of gold, this is a classic gold standard currency, which brings us back to classic money and not simply that printed currency that the international community is familiar with today.
Great, my brother. Can you please inform us about repatriation?
So as it pertains to reparations, it's twofold. First and foremost, there's a historical context behind it. Our people have obviously been waiting for our African kingdoms from which they come for these last 400 years to come back and rescue them. And that has not happened in the last 400 years. So many people have long since lost hope that there would be some kind of re-engagement with the continent. But the fact of the matter is, the kingdoms, having been subdued in the same way that the diaspora was subdued, now make a return and reclaim their people throughout all of the 6th region. And so as it pertains to reparations, the position of the kingdoms is to remember that we are kings. And as such, before we ever parade ourselves on the international stage as beggars asking for reparations, we first must give reparations to ourselves. And that reparation comes in 2 forms. First, it is coming to terms with our political sovereignty. So in the case of the island of Jamaica, we recognize that the British Crown has sat above the people of Jamaica. And so as part of the reparations, we eliminate that subjugated status under the British authority. And then the second dynamic of reparations is, of course, economics or monetary. And as the kingdoms bring their kingdom's currency, being the African kingdom's Lumi, to the global currency, the kingdoms have committed themselves, as it pertains to the island of Jamaica, to making a reparations payment in the amount of 198,000 British pound parity, paid in African kingdoms lumi, and that payment will be amortized over the next 33 years, so that each person is entitled to receive a parity amount of £500 per month for the next 33 years as part of an overall reparations package, recognizing that we must take control of our economic identity and future. And while we will still see a request of reparations being made to our colonial oppressors, first and foremost, we must simply economically emancipate ourselves. And so self-reparations is the first step in economic emancipation.
Yes, sir. Do you have a word for the people that has been long waiting for this to take place?
You know, in terms of broad encouragement, let me reiterate and rephrase what I said earlier. Our people lost hope that the kingdoms would re-enjoin them after these 400 years. But in its broadest sense, let us know, and this is a statement of kingdoms, that our ancestors warned us in advance. And that warning came in the form of Genesis 15, where Abraham sat directly with the Creator, and it was made known to him with a surety that his seed would go into 400 years of captivity. And after the 400 years of captivity, those nations whom we served would be judged. And of course, we would come thereout with great prosperity. And so now as we look over our shoulder and we see 400 years of captivity come to fulfillment, as difficult as it is for us to accept, we must take solace in the remembrance that it was told to us in advance. And so when we see it manifesting, that is a reminder of our unique relation with our divine Creator, who has selected us as his designated and anointed people. And when we see ourselves coming out of captivity, that is a vindication and a confirmation of our anointment, because we know that prosperity now waits before us and the captivity is indeed finished.
Any final words before you go, my brother?
Well, all that we could say is, as we engage this new era, this new age and dispensation, this is an hour of celebration, because in seeing the fulfillment, in knowing that prosperity is now what awaits for us, we no longer need to walk with our shoulders sagging and our head held low. Our people must transform themselves psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, to rediscover that ancient dignity and pride that our forefathers had, and to take confidence and claim victory in knowing that a new age of prosperity and dignity is upon us.
Encouragement for the people that were scattered abroad.
Shalom, and thank you for having me. Blessings to you.